the international community have been reacting to Israeli Palestinians war, with some condemning Hamas and some giving support to the Palestinians and encouraging de-escalation from both parties. African nations that have suffered from occupation, apartheid, and genocide have also raised their voices and concerns. In Africa, leaders have been reacting to the conflict since Saturday's surprise attack, condemning Hamas's assault. However, their responses reveal divisions among the continent on the source of the conflict and who is to blame. In Eastern Africa, Kenya's President William Ruto unequivocally condemned terrorism by Hamas, adding Kenya stands in solidarity with the State of Israel. In consideration of the complex and delicate context of the security situation in Israel Palestine, Kenya also makes a call for the de-escalation of violence, said Ruto. He is the only African leader to publicly condemn Hamas, and his statement was met with huge division in Kenya, with Kenyan citizens taking it to social media that his statement does not represent the Kenyan people, and it does not go together with the African Union stance. At least 2 African nationals have been accounted for in the conflict. The Israel Foreign Ministry announcing 2 Tanzanians were among international civilians attacked in Hamas's surprise attack on Israel. Tanzania's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said Tanzania mourns with the families of Israelis and Palestinians who lost their lives, saying, "We condemn all forms of violence. We call for restraint to stem further loss of human life." The African Union, AU chairperson, Musa Faki Mahamat, expressed utmost concern at the outbreak of violence that has had grave consequences for the lives of Israeli and Palestinian people, while also emphasized the failure of long-term international efforts to solve the crisis, saying, "The chairperson wishes to recall the fundamental rights of the Palestinian people, particularly that of an independent and sovereign state, is the main cause of the permanent Israeli-Palestinian tension." Protesters shout slogans and wave flags during a pro-Palestinian demonstration near the U.S. consulate in Sandton, Johannesburg, on October 11, 2023.
Let us not forget the last colony of Africa, Western Sahara. Let us fight to free Western Sahara from oppression. Let us also remember that Madiba said, "Our freedom is incomplete without the freedom of Palestine." Therefore, we stand together to fight for the liberation of Palestine. Free, free Palestine!
Morocco's King Mohammed called for an emergency meeting of the Arab League Council at the headquarters in Cairo to discuss the deteriorating situation, saying the Kingdom of Morocco expresses deep concern while condemning the attacks against civilians, wherever they may be. Algeria's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, too, expressed support for Palestine, saying it is following with deep concern the escalation of barbaric Zionist aggression against the Gaza Strip, which has cost the lives of dozens of innocent children of the Palestinian people, who have fallen as martyrs to the stubbornness of the Zionist occupation in its policy of oppression and persecution imposed on the valiant Palestinian people. In neighboring Tunisia, citizens took to the streets to rally for Palestine as national protests happened on Thursday, with more planned in the days to come. South Africa has also called for the cessation of violence, adding the region is in urgent and desperate need of a credible peace process.
But pledging our solidarity with the Palestinians because they have a just struggle and their human rights are being violated, as well as their quest for self-determination is something that we have always supported.
South Africa also urged resumption of talks on a 2-state solution. South Africa seeks to ensure a lasting and durable peace that produces a viable, contiguous Palestinian state, existing side by side in peace with Israel, within the 1967 internationally recognized borders, with East Jerusalem as its capital, in a statement issued by the government. Meanwhile, Namibia and Nigeria called for a de-escalation and ceasefire through dialogue, adding they are deeply concerned by the outbreak of violence. Several actions taken by the Israeli army were characterized as collective punishment, a war crime prohibited by treaty in both international and non-international armed conflicts. More specifically, Common Article 3 of the Geneva Conventions and additional protocol doctors. Without Borders, International President Christos Christou said millions of civilians in Gaza faced collective punishment due to Israel's blockade on fuel and medicine.